Hello. We've got flies where we're at, so forgive me in the midst of swinging at a few of these little boogers who like to bite. So what am I here to share with you today is about how to pull yourself out of those challenging moments, out of the stories and the beliefs and the patterns that keep us stuck in a downward spiral, into those places that don't feel good, and we start thinking and believing that we're something that we're not, something that isn't of service to us, something that's not of service to our highest good or our highest joy or our highest sense of being. So I was sitting with a friend last week and we were discussing some of this, how she's been pulled into this story so deeply and really believing that she's not good enough and that she'll never be good enough and that no matter what she does is wrong. And then what starts to happen is she's viewing through that lens, and then all the things that are happening around her, she's seeing through that lens, and whether that's happening or not, like there's people who are reinforcing the positive in her, she sees it as sarcasm. So she starts to see through the lens of I'm not good enough. So everything that happens is a reality from her perspective that she's not good enough, and it's all reinforcing the belief that she's not good enough. So how do we pull out of that? How do we recognize that we're stuck in a story that doesn't work for us? And then how do we get out of it? Step one, if it is such a thing as a step, you know you're triggered, something's going on. You know that you're triggered and something's going on when you're not feeling good. When you're pissed, you're angry, you're blaming, you're saying somebody else is doing this to me, etc. Those are all examples of something's not going right, something's not working. And it's something that is actually your responsibility inside of you. So first you got to recognize there's something going on that's not of service to you. So any thoughts that are going on that are saying, I'm not good enough, or something's wrong with me, or I don't like this, or I don't like them, then there's something for us to look at. So you want to look at that. How do we start to look at that? How do we get ourselves, when we're so stuck in it, how do we pull ourselves out of that? I give the example of this. There's the ego and there's the higher you, the wisdom you. And the ego wraps onto the wisdom you and makes you believe that you are the ego. So what we want to do is we want to separate from the ego. So the ego is still experiencing what it's experiencing. It wants what it wants.
Can you start again from there?
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What we want to do is we want to separate from the ego. The ego still wants what it wants and doesn't want what it doesn't want. But we're separate from it. We are viewing from this place of acceptance, from recognizing that whatever is, like all of these freaking flies, are part of what is. So the higher self can be here watching, and the ego can still be reacting. I'm still waving away the flies, still even somewhat annoyed. The ego's annoyed, but there's this other part that is completely okay with what is, non-judging, loving, and accepting of what is. So when we're in that muck, we got to recognize we got to have some sort of system or support to pull us out. Recognizing that we're lost in a story, lost in this place that's keeping us stuck, and go, okay, I need a lifeline, whatever that TV show, I don't watch TV, so whatever that TV show is that gives a lifeline, I need a lifeline. I need support from my friends, I need support from myself that helps me say, you're lost in your ego. You're lost in this story that's keeping you lost. So when we know that, what we need to do is we need to get a different perspective. I call it the phoenix or the ego perspective. You rise above it and you start to view, what is this? Why am I responding this way? What's going on? What is going to be more supportive of me living and being in a place of love and acceptance of myself? Thoughts that are feeding a way of being, a way of living that's going to be more supportive of me expanding, thriving, free. So we got to catch it, we got to separate, we got to come into that higher self, view it from that, know that the higher self is already in a place of love and acceptance and in presence, and infuse that into the moment. Infuse that in and acknowledge and love the ego from that place. Infuse and acknowledge whatever's unfolding, that it's okay. There's still things that have to be addressed. There's still challenges that have to be addressed, but you're going to see it from a bigger, expanded view. From that place, you're no longer lost and stuck. And then the magic can happen. Whatever that magic is, it can happen. And there's many different tools and techniques to assist you to be able to move from this stuck place of confusion into an exalted place of viewing the truth and allowing this to still happen, but seeing it, being with it, loving it. Hopefully, I made somewhat of sense here in this moment. Just a simple offering. Many blessings. Namaste.